Ooh. Okay, so in light of my other video, to go with that, so some questions that I get asked, or a question, not some questions, a question I get asked, having lost a parent, what do I miss most about that parent? There's a lot. I mean, how do you really answer that question? Let's see. I miss his cooking. Most definitely. A lot of people would say my dad's food was bland because he didn't use a lot of seasoning in it and he didn't use a lot of salt in it. Well, salt especially, they'd be like, it's bland because you can't taste the salt. I'm like, well, you're actually tasting the salt. You're not actually tasting the food. So they would say it was bland because you could actually taste what the food tastes like. And I get told so much by certain people that have had my dad's cooking. I get this one. You cook just like your dad. Well, not exactly like him, but yeah, a lot of my food. I like my dad's food. Don't be wrong. Mom's a good cook. She just cooks differently. Doesn't mean I like her food any less. She makes a mean pot roast. She makes pot roast like it's nobody's business. Banana, her banana nut bread. Banana or banana nut bread, depends on whether she puts the walnuts in it or not. Let's see, what else does she make? The frozen cranberry, well, I call it a frozen cranberry cream cheese pie. If you look in the cookbook, it's called something else, or it's not quite called that. But other people have made that, and yeah. So yeah, I miss a lot of my dad's cooking. But I got used to having, like, my mom used to cook when we were little, and then it kind of became my dad cooking because he took over the kitchen and didn't let anybody else in it. He shooed everybody out. It was his kitchen. So I got used to, he would make my lunches for school when I was in school. He would make breakfast. He would make dinner. I got used to all my meals being cooked by Dad. So yeah, definitely his cooking. I mean, there are some things that I don't know how to make. Like, I don't know how to make his noodles. Like I said, his spice cake. He had this modified noodle recipe from one of my mom's books. Couldn't tell you. I don't know how I modified it. All I could do is look at the recipe and try to figure it out. He can make some killer homemade mac and cheese, though. That I know how to make. The one and only time you will see me eat fish sticks, because I hate breaded fish. But I'll fight you on some homemade mac and cheese and fish sticks when he made it. Matt and I would fight over to see who would get the rest of it. Let's see, what else? Yeah, he used to make some killer breakfasts. His his breakfast mix thing that he used to that had like sausage and egg and all this stuff in it. His omelets, his breakfast sandwiches. He had his own way of making those. Fruit fritters. I love those fruit fritters. I mean, I can make them, but it's not quite the same. I miss his coffee. It's close, but it's not exact. I tried, though. It's about as close as I can get. It's pretty close. If you didn't know the difference. Let's see, what else do I miss? His sense of humor. It wasn't for everybody. Sometimes I get a little bit of my sense of humor from him. I have a little bit of a dark sense of humor. I get that honestly. He had a little bit of dark humor thrown in there. Let's see. I don't have anybody to watch horror movies with anymore. No horror movies. Matt moved, so I don't even have Matt to watch horror movies with. My dad used to he would track down things, because I oddball, my favorite thing to watch. We used to watch the Puppet Master movies together. He actually got me, this is the first 9 movies. Puppet Master was my thing. This is a movie that he tracked down for me in Walmart. This was in one of the Walmart discount bins. Found this. Somebody was talking about this on Facebook. Here I have mine's not even open. Here's batteries not included. I mean, his artwork. I have packed away notebooks. Well, what's left of the notebooks. My notebooks from school. They're in a box. He would doodle in my notebooks. Needless to say, I have my notebooks from school, and he would doodle random pictures of them. I don't know if it was for me or just because he was bored or what, but I will never be able to have him do me another piece of artwork. Look at this. This is one of my dad's pieces of, he drew this from the back of, I don't even remember. I can see it in my head, but I don't remember what it's called. The magazine. I watched him draw this and color this off of that. So I have this. Had this forever. But you can see how, and that's all pencil. It's he drew it with a pencil, colored pencil. Yeah, so I won't have any more artwork from him. I mean, my brothers and I all have, you can see where we got our artistic, they're inherited. Especially if you look at my older brother's artwork, I see a lot of my dad's talent there. A lot of my dad's thing. When you look, there are some similarities, and you can tell. If I don't do my artwork so much, I did it in school. I don't really do it now. It's not like it was with my older brother. That is his jam. Him, like my dad, does some amazing artwork. I don't really know if my younger brother still does any of his artwork, but he is not too shabby himself. If you look at some of my old sketchbooks from when I was in art class in school, yes, there are, there's actually one in particular that if you look at it, and I think it's a tomato that I drew. I think it's the tomato. If you look at the shading in it with the colored pencil, because it's a pencil drawing with the colored pencils, but if you look at my shading technique, it looks very similar to my dad's. And I never noticed it before until I actually went back and looked. This was something, I just had my dad give me something. It had to be a fruit or a vegetable, so I had him give me something, and I drew this and shaded it colored pencils, and then looking at it years later after I'd looked at some, I realized that my shading technique is very similar to what he used to do. So if you look in my artwork and my brother's, you can see some similarities between, but I miss having that. He used to, my dad used to color in my coloring books. It's great. I have coloring books. Not like the coloring books, like the little kid chintzy coloring books, but like the nice paper stock ones. I have fairy coloring books. And if you look at the coloring technique that my dad used in that, and look at some of my older brother's artwork, I notice similarities with that. It's a different technique, but I notice there are similarities with that technique. And it's so crazy to see that different techniques and similarities between our artwork and Dad's artwork. But I miss that. Like I said, horror movies. Well, then there's horror movies for Halloween and then there would be horror movies for Christmas. My dad and I had this thing where we would sit and watch Christmas horror movies. So I don't have anybody to watch Christmas horror movies with either. I don't have no horror movie partners, and of course, obviously, don't have Matt. Like I said, what else do I miss? Let's see, artwork, food, sense of humor. Oh, his ability to just with the animals, with the pets. When they weren't listening to me, he could always, I don't know what it was. He was the animal whisperer. I miss that because now I have to argue with these ones back here. Violet, who argues with me and is a little violent terrorist. She never argued with my dad. Never. He's the only one that could reach into the cage and get her. She doesn't let anybody. She bites the crap out of me. She's always done that. She bites the crap out of anybody that gets near her cage and the thing. My dad, he would just tell her what's for. They're all things. If I wanted to find one of my animals, just get Dad. They would appear. And I'm like, they're my horde, but he was the animal whisperer. So I miss having somebody to animal whisper my pains in the butts. What else? Something that we used to do when we were younger, Legos. We would just get out Legos and do Legos. My dad had so many Legos. Eventually he got rid of them, but he just sitting around the table and just talking. I could talk to him about anything and everything. And he wasn't judgmental. Never said I told you so. Ever. Not once. That was always nice. Halloween. Like Halloween decorating thing. That was his thing. So I miss that. I miss having somebody to talk to. I'm weird. I like, aliens, the unexplained, ghosts, the supernatural, all of that. I don't have anybody to talk to about that. It's an interest. We used to watch all those shows, ghost stories. What's another one? Trying to think. My brain is like, we're done. Games, card games. I used to sit down with my dad and play, just him and I, play Rummy. Or, well, he taught me how to play Rummy. He taught me how to play Blackjack. What else did he teach me how to play? Steel Pile. He taught me how to play Steel Pile. So we used to play these games. Puzzles. Once upon a time, we had a closet full of puzzles. We'd sit down and do puzzles. My dad would liked to do like the mind bender puzzles. Rubik's Cube. We had the Rubik's Pyramid. That was fun. That was Sudoku. My dad was really good with numbers. Number puzzles. Just puzzles in general. Any kind of puzzles, like mind games and puzzles. Things. I miss having that. Sometimes he would come up with his own games. I remember once upon a time he would take and make his own board games. Remember that. He would draw them, do them, color them. Actually, at one point, and you could, what was it? I forget what it was that he drew them on, but you could just roll them, and he made board games. I miss that. I mean, it hadn't been a while since we'd done anything like that. He did that while we were kids, but, you know, all kinds of things. When he could work on cars, I missed that. He taught me how to work on cars. My dad was, he did the old apartment. He did the landscaping for the front. Let's see, what else? Oh, I miss him growing yarrow and making yarrow tea. Not sure what thing, but it was his thing. Building things, just building things in general. Helping build things. Him taking apart things and putting them back together. He actually helped me with my stereo. Whoa, back when my stereo with the like double tape deck and thing, I had to take it apart because it had stopped working. He helped me with that. Take it apart and put it back together working so I didn't have to buy a new one. There's all kinds of things in general. And some of these things, he was the only person that I would think. And I don't think last year I didn't watch, not for Halloween or Christmas, I didn't watch any horror movies whatsoever. I miss, he used to do this thing where I miss going for walks. We used to go at night. We'd go out and go for walks, just walk all over the place, talk. Same thing, driving. We used to go out driving all over these back country roads and just different places. And again, just talk about anything, everything. We used to go for the holidays. We're not really at Christmas, not really because I don't celebrate Christmas, but we would go Christmas light looking. My dad would go out Christmas light looking. And we would take videos and pictures. One of the things we used to do is one of the inns here, the Haunted Inn. We would go. They would decorate. I don't know if they still do it because I did not go last year and look. Would go and walk. They would decorate They would decorate it all up, and they would decorate the garden, and they would leave it open so you could walk through the garden where they had Christmas lights up, and people could walk through it. So last year we did go Christmas light looking, or this past Christmas I should say, technically. Well, last year, whatever. We did that. I miss my dad's stovetop hot chocolate. I have the stuff to make it, but I did not make it. I could make it to my taste, but I like his much better, even though I have the stuff to make it. Let's see, whenever I was sick, he would basically give me all my stuff, my medicine, my drinks, my let's see, hangovers. Those were fun. My hangover remedies. Just different things. Like if I ever needed money, I never had to worry about not having the money for something. There was a few times when I didn't have the money for something, and something would happen, and he'd be like, and I would pay him back, but it was nice. I miss having somebody to rely on. That's not how I'd phrase that. I don't know how to phrase that. That just sounded totally bad. But yeah, there's a lot that I miss or haven't done because it was something that we